Most people think they need a perfect morning to start strong. The right weather, the right sleep, the right motivation. But I learned a long time ago, you can't rely on the conditions around you. You have to create the conditions within you. That's what those 10 minutes are for. When I was a young man in Austria, I didn't have much. No fancy gym, no big mirror to pose in front of. Just a cold room, a dream in my head, and my own body to work with. But even back then, I had a habit, something I did every morning to get my head in the game. I didn't even know it was a mindset routine at the time. I just knew that if I started my day on purpose, I was unstoppable. Years later, I forgot about that. Hollywood, business, meetings, the noise. It's easy to get pulled in 100 directions. One day you wake up and you're not sure what you're chasing anymore. Success is loud, but the soul is quiet. And I realized I hadn't heard mine in a while. So, I went back to the basics, back to the 10 minutes. Now, let me tell you, it wasn't easy at first. The ego says, come on Arnie, you've done Ironman training, Mr. Olympia routines, 12-hour shooting days. 10 minutes? That's nothing. But I had to shut that voice down. Because this wasn't about proving strength, it was about regaining clarity. The kind of clarity that doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing something small, but with total focus. And here's the beauty of it. When I restarted that routine, something shifted. My breathing slowed. My thinking got sharper. I felt grounded again. Not as an actor. Not as a politician. Just as a man. A man who needed to feel like he was moving forward again. Not sprinting, but stepping. Intentionally. That's why I'm telling you this story. Because I know some of you out there, especially those of you over 60, you feel like your best days are behind you. That the energy's gone. That the fire has cooled. But I'm telling you, it hasn't. It's still there. You just need to find the switch again. And that switch is 10 minutes. 10 minutes to breathe, to move, to reflect, to reconnect with who you really are. Not the roles you play. Not the mistakes you've made. Just you. So don't underestimate it. Don't laugh it off. 10 minutes can change your day. Enough changed days will change your mindset. And a changed mindset? That changes everything. Let's keep going. Let me show you what happened next. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. There was a time, not too long ago, when I felt completely empty. No, not physically. I was still strong, still working out, still doing my routines. But inside, I was flat. Like the tank was full, but the engine wasn't turning over. The drive, the thing that used to pull me out of bed at 5 a.m., wasn't there anymore. And that scared me. I've always been the guy with the fire, the vision, the push. From the moment I first picked up a dumbbell as a teenager in Austria, I had direction. I saw the version of myself I wanted to become, and I chased it with everything I had. Through bodybuilding, through Hollywood, through politics, I never stopped moving forward. But then, for the first time in decades, I woke up one morning, and didn't know why. Not why I existed. No, it wasn't anything dramatic like that. But why I was still chasing, still building, still pushing. It all felt mechanical, like I was living out momentum, not meaning. I didn't tell anyone about this at first. You don't exactly sit at breakfast and say, hey, I feel lost. Especially when the world still sees you as the Terminator, as the Governator, as Mr. Olympia. People expect strength from me, certainty. And most of the time, I deliver it. But this was different. It felt like the brightness inside had dimmed. Like I was showing up in the world with my game face on, but my soul had gone quiet. And the worst part? I didn't know when it had started. That's how these things happen, right? Not in one day, but slowly. A little detour here, a bit of burnout there, a few distractions. Then suddenly, you look up and realize you're far off course. Maybe you've felt that too. You hit retirement. Or the kids are grown. Or the thing you built your life around, your job, your business, your identity, suddenly isn't there anymore. And you ask yourself, now what? That was me. But here's what I've learned. Just because the fire dims, doesn't mean it's gone. You just have to go back. Not to the past, but to the foundation. The place where the fire first started. For me, that was Austria. The cold mornings. The discipline. The quiet. That's where the idea of the routine came back to me. The 10 minutes I used to take for myself, long before cameras and contracts. That's where the shift began. But I'll get to that in the next chapter. Right now, I just want you to know this. Even I lost my fire. And if you've lost yours, you're not broken. You're not finished. You're just at a turning point. The good news? You get to decide what happens next. The flame can return. You can rebuild it, minute by minute, step by step. Let me show you how I did it. When you lose your way, sometimes the only thing you can do is go back to where it all began. For me, that place was a small village in Austria. Cold winters, grey skies, concrete walls that kept the heat in just enough to survive. But it wasn't a sad place. It was a place of routine, of structure, of discipline. Back then, I didn't have much, but I had drive. And more importantly, I had habits, the kind that made me who I am. I started thinking about those mornings. I'd wake up before the sun, no alarm clock needed. I didn't have a phone to check, no news to scroll, no chaos waiting for me, just silence. And in that silence, I did something very simple. 10 minutes. Every morning. I would stretch a little, breathe deeply, go over my day in my head. I'd visualize it, not just what I wanted to do, but who I wanted to be. That was the difference. I wasn't just chasing goals. I was shaping my character, my mindset. I didn't have a name yet. I wasn't the Oak. I was just Arnie, the boy who wanted more, and was willing to show up for it. I didn't call it a routine back then. I didn't even realize how powerful it was. But looking back now, I see it clearly. That morning ritual was the furnace where my discipline was forged. It gave me direction, even when I had no resources. It gave me identity, even before I had success. It was the thing I could control in a world that didn't give me much. And so, decades later, when I found myself feeling empty, surrounded by success but starved of purpose, I knew where to turn. I brought it back. Not for my biceps. Not for my chest. I wasn't trying to build my body. I was trying to rebuild my center. I started waking up 10 minutes earlier, not to do emails or check headlines, but to sit, to breathe, to stretch, to ask myself, what matters today? Not what's on the calendar, but what kind of man do I want to be today? That was the question that changed everything. And let me tell you something, it didn't take long. After a week, I felt sharper, more grounded, more in control. The noise in my head started to fade. The fire began to flicker again. You see, when you strip away the titles, the roles, the expectations, you're left with the most important thing, yourself. And the relationship you have with that person, it's shaped every single morning. So I went back to Austria, not physically, but mentally, spiritually. I rebuilt that 10-minute window. And in doing so, I found something I didn't even know I'd lost. Clarity, calm, power. And I'm here to tell you, you can find it too. You don't have to fly across the world or start over from scratch. All you need is a little time each morning, a little silence, a little intention. Start with 10 minutes. The world can wait. Next, I'll walk you through exactly what I do now, every morning, step by step. Because small routines create strong minds, and strong minds lead strong lives. Stop, stop, stop. Before we continue, I want to take a brief pause. Let me know in the comments, where are you watching or listening from? And have you ever experienced something similar in your own life? A moment when you realized something had to change? If this story speaks to you, I invite you to subscribe. There's more to come, and I'd be honored to have you on this journey. Now, let's continue. So what did I do in those 10 minutes that changed everything? I'll tell you, it wasn't complicated. It wasn't flashy. You're not going to see it trending on social media or turned into some fancy app. It was just 3 simple actions. But each one was intentional. Each one had a purpose. Together, they created a mindset shift I hadn't felt in years. Let me break it down. Step 1, breathwork. Control the inside. The first thing I do is breathe. I sit on the edge of the bed, feet flat on the floor. I close my eyes, and I take 5 deep, slow breaths. That's it. But I do it with full focus. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale slowly through the mouth. I imagine the tension leaving my body with every breath. Why? Because your breath is the one thing you can always control, no matter what's going on around you. When your breathing is calm, your mind follows. It tells your nervous system, I'm safe. I'm grounded. I'm here. Most people roll out of bed and go straight into chaos. Their phone buzzes. Their brain starts racing. Their stress builds before their feet even hit the ground. But not me. Not anymore. I take control before the world tries to take it from me. It sounds small, but it's powerful. That first breath is the first win of the day. Step 2, reflection. Remember who you are. After breathing, I sit in silence for a minute or two and ask myself one question. What kind of man do I want to be today? Not what do I need to get done. I'll get to that later. This is deeper. This is about identity. I picture myself moving through the day. Strong, focused, kind, disciplined. I visualize myself being the man I admire, not just pretending or hoping, but actually becoming him. Sometimes I write a word on a sticky note and put it on the bathroom mirror. One word, like clarity, discipline, or kindness. That becomes my compass for the day. You'd be amazed how much more powerful you feel when you choose your identity every morning. Not letting the day shape you, but shaping the day yourself. Step 3, movement. Energy is created, not given. The last part is physical. I move my body. Nothing fancy. Just 5 minutes of light movement. Some stretches. A few push-ups. Some squats. Maybe I hold a plank or do jumping jacks to get my heart rate going. I don't need to sweat. I just need to activate. Why? Because motion creates energy. And energy creates momentum. When I was younger, I trained to win. Now, I train to feel alive. And those 5 minutes remind me every morning that I'm still strong, still capable, still in the fight. It's not about age. It's about attitude. And let me tell you something. You don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you stop moving. So that's the routine. Breathe. Reflect. Move. 10 minutes. 3 wins. That's it. It doesn't solve everything. But it puts me in the driver's seat. It's like setting the tone on a piano. Get the first note right, and everything else sounds better. And here's the real magic. When you start the day with 3 small victories, you begin to expect more from yourself. You walk taller. Think clearer. Show up stronger. That's what this routine gave me. Daily momentum. Not a miracle. Not a life hack. Just a decision made every morning to show up for myself. And soon, it didn't just change me. It changed someone else too. Let me tell you about him. I never planned to share the routine with anyone. It was something personal, my way of getting back on track, clearing my head, reconnecting with myself. But life has a way of putting the right people in front of you when you're living with intention. That's how I reconnected with Mike, an old friend of mine, a retired firefighter from California. We'd known each other for years, crossed paths at charity events, community projects. Salt of the earth guy. Tough as nails. But when I saw him last year, something was different. He looked tired, not physically, but in his eyes. Like a man who had given everything and didn't know what to do with the quiet that followed. We grabbed coffee, and after a few minutes of small talk, he leaned in and said, "Arnie, I thought I'd feel free after retirement. But I just feel lost." I knew that feeling. I'd lived that feeling. So I told him the truth. I said, "Mike, I was in the same place not long ago. And the thing that helped me the most? It wasn't a big change. It was just 10 minutes a day. A little breathing. A little reflection. A little movement." He raised an eyebrow. "That's it." "Yeah," I said. "That's it. Small wins. But every single day." I didn't push. I just told him what I did. Gave him the 3 steps. I said, "Try it. Just give it a week." A month later, he called me. I could hear it in his voice before he said a word. He had energy again. He told me, "Arnie, this changed everything." And I believed him. He said the mornings felt different now. He stopped reaching for his phone first thing. He started writing down a word each day, just like I did. Strength, patience, purpose. He said it gave him something to aim at, something to be. He told me he started sleeping better, walking more. He even picked up painting, something he hadn't done since high school. He laughed when he said, "I thought I needed a new chapter. Turns out I just needed 10 minutes to remember who I was." That's the moment I realized. This isn't just a routine. It's a lifeline. Mike wasn't trying to win anymore. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He just wanted to feel like himself again. And the routine helped him do that, not by changing the outside world, but by realigning the inside. And here's the best part. Mike started sharing it with his old crew. Firefighters, construction workers, guys who had spent decades putting others first. Now, they were starting their days with purpose, with breath, with stillness, with strength. That's the beauty of it. It's simple, it's free, and it works for anyone, at any age, in any season of life. So when people say, "I'm too old to start something new," I think of Mike. When they say, "It's too late to get my fire back," I think of that phone call. This changed everything. Yes, it did. And now I want to show you how this story ends. Not with a finish line, but with a beginning. Let's talk about what it means to earn it, every single day. So here we are. The end of the story. But maybe the beginning of something for you. You've heard how I lost my fire. How I found my way back. How 10 minutes each morning gave me clarity, focus, and purpose again. You've heard about Mike, the retired firefighter who picked up that same routine and said, "This changed everything." Now it's your turn. Let me be clear. This isn't some motivational fluff. I'm not here to pump you up and then disappear. I'm here to hand you a tool. A real, simple, proven tool. Something you can start tomorrow. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to wait for Monday or January, or when life calms down. All you need is 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes of presence. 10 minutes of ownership. 10 minutes that say, "Today, I take responsibility for who I am and who I'm becoming." You don't have to change your life overnight. You just have to show up for yourself every single morning. Start with one breath, one reflection, one small movement, and then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, because small wins compound, and over time, they turn into something powerful. Momentum. When I was a kid in Austria, all I had were big dreams and a small window of time to act on them each day. That was enough. And now, all these years later, that small window still holds its power. I still do it. Every single morning. Because no matter how much you've achieved, or how far you've come, there's always more to discover in yourself. But here's the truth. No one can do it for you. Not your spouse. Not your kids. Not your doctor. You have to earn it. You earn your mindset. You earn your clarity. You earn your strength by showing up again and again. I know some of you are thinking, "But I'm too old. I've missed my chance." Let me stop you right there. It's never too late. Not to build discipline. Not to change direction. Not to become the person deep down, you were meant to be. I've lived long enough to tell you this. It's not about where you've been. It's about what you choose to do now. And what you choose to do tomorrow morning. So take the 10 minutes. Not for me. For you. Breathe. Reflect. Move. And then go out and be the kind of person you respect. Because the results, they come. The energy returns. The fire reignites. But first, you have to earn it. Now go. Start. And don't stop. I'll see you in the morning. If this story spoke to you in any way, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever felt stuck like I did? Have you found something small, like a routine, that helped you reconnect with your purpose? Share your experience. Your story matters more than you know. I read every single comment, and I believe in each one of you watching. No matter your age or your past, there's still so much ahead. You're stronger than you think. If you found this message helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss the next motivating story. There's more to come, and I'd love for you to be here with me. Wishing you a powerful and peaceful day. And if you watched all the way to the end, write this in the comments so I know you're with me. Small wins. Big results.